Hello, hello, and welcome to the Thoughtful Edge podcast. Today, my guest is Rodrigo Silva. He's an entrepreneur, the CEO of Litium, which is a nearshore IT staffing company in Latin America. We met during one of the conference here in the Bay Area, and I was glad to reconnect with Rodrigo and suggested him to come to my podcast and talk about something about Latin America business and his experience as the CEO and his career path as well. So
Thank you, Dimitri, for having me
yeah,
on your
yeah,
podcast.
absolutely,
It's a pleasure.
my my pleasure too. So tell us something about yourself, like your background, and especially as I know, your background is pretty interesting. You as a software engineer, is by training, as I am, worked as a business analyst as well, and then you're CEO of the separate other company. So tell us about your journey.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, these questions makes me reflect about my story, which is very interesting because I have a degree. I'm a software engineer. So initially, I was more focused on the technical side, solving complex problems, understanding algorithms, and all that kind of things. After that, I started working in a role. Of course, I work as a developer, or a consultant, and so on. Then I went for other positions like business analyst, which makes me, focus more on solutions, not only about technology, if not about how technology is used, how implement solutions, how people, processes, and tools are involved as a whole. So that was a another step on my career. Start thinking about that things with a wide, view about the scenarios and what was happening. And later on in my career, I had the challenge to run a company. Nowadays, since 5 years ago, I started at Litium. As you said, we are an IT staffing company based in Uruguay, and of course the focus there is it was completely different. Even if we started as Lithium started as a software development company, when I started in the company, we focus more, or we changed our business model to become an IT staffing company. So the focus now was on the talent, on the people, and about their personal growth regarding their professional and personal lives. So nowadays, this is our focus. Bridging the talent in Latin America with opportunities, mainly in the US. It's a different approach. It's about evaluating, vetting candidates, understanding when someone is a good fit for a position, if it's someone which is aligned with our values. And of course, the technical side is there, but now we see in a different way. So I think it's a higher level, but of course, it's the level that gives me a lot of, you know, um, happiness, because I know that when we do a good job and we have a client with a new developer on their team, and they are happy, and and they are having a good experience, that is the you said, okay, the job is done.
Yeah, nice. No, definitely making an impact is, I believe, like the desire of everybody out there, like of every engineer, every manager, is to make some impact and make some other people happy. And especially when they engaged engineers and they interested in the business of their clients, and they are providing and showing up to for the success of that company, is like it's definitely something that I enjoy observing as well, and I've seen a lot of instances like that in my career.
Yes.
And as you're talking about the talents and the access for talents and the remote work circumstances and environment that we are mostly in now since the pandemic age, even though some companies are trying to bring people back to the office, the remote work is still there, and the access to talent is one of the main probably reason for companies to engage with the offshore companies like Lithium. And how you find, assess, and onboard those top tires, those developers for your customers, and what is your sourcing and vetting process looks like, because like it's very important not just to find someone who is technically capable per my experience, but is to ensure that he's a cultural fit as well, that he's that the engineer has appropriate working ethic and attitude.
Yes. Well, first of all, it's important to say. I mean, at Lithium, we are focused, on helping our client to scale their teams. To easily scale their teams. That means that they can access to a great talent pool, in a cost-effective way, and also shortening their recruitment process. So this is very important to understand what is the need on their side when they reach us, and how we do it. Well, we are mainly constantly recruiting people, okay, recruiting talent all over Latin America. So that makes us um, to find this interesting talent that is open for a new challenge, evaluate them, and of course, interviews with our recruiting team, technical evaluations, and of course, besides the technical evaluation, we also put a lot of focus on the soft skills of the candidates, because this is a very important asset nowadays. And given that remote work is one of the preferred ways of work, and how is the world of work moving, um, these skills are important nowadays, and we focus a lot on them. So our evaluation is not about only technical evaluation; it's about competencies, autonomy, and well, trying to understand what the candidate is looking for in order to make a good match. So once the candidate is vetted and is validated to be in our talent pool, we start looking for opportunities and matching them with our open opportunities. The idea is to validate what they are looking, is what the client is also looking, and make this match. And of course, introduce the candidate to the client, and then follow the process of the client or partner. Um, so this is basically our process, but of course, with the let's say the main focus that we cannot always reply fast to a new requirement. So this is very important for us.
I see. So how many interview rounds the candidate usually
Well, during the
has while
lithium
going?
during the lithium process can be from 1 to 3 interviews, and then with the client from 1 to 3 interviews also. So we have times with larger processes, and others. It depends also on the client. Let's say if it is a final client for us, which is, it means that the candidate is going to work directly on the client's team. It's a shorter process, is more direct, and when we work with a partner, that the partner can be another staffing company, or
Hmm.
let's say a marketplace, or other. There are different others models in which we call this a partner. But let's say in general terms, it's another staffing company. Well, the candidate needs to be evaluated by the partner and then by the final client. In those cases, we have a larger process, but of course, for us, it's very important to be clear about the process with the candidate, to align expectations in
Hmm.
order to have a good experience for the candidate.
Absolutely. No, transparency is a key, like in
Yeah.
every kind of business, and especially what when you deal with the people, everyone is willing to know what is in front of them, what is waiting for them in the future, and this is a
Yes.
good point. This is definitely a good point. And since you're working like across different countries in Latin America, I can imagine, because for me personally, I perceive Latin America is something far from me. Like there are a lot of people, and there are a lot of different countries, but I'm not that much aware of any differences between uh, different nations, different cultures, or some different regions as well. Do you observe any kind of differences between maybe nations, countries, or approaches, or the level of education between different regions of Latin America?
Yes, yes. Well, first of all, I think that it's important to say that one of the main advantages of Latin America as a trending destination for for nearshore is of course the time zone, right? So we are in a very interesting time zone in order to work with the US. From So the difference can be from working in the same time zone or up to 4 hours with the West Coast from where you are, for example. So this is very important. It's an aspect that differentiates Latin America from other uh, offshoring or staffing, let's say, regions. And inside Latin America, of course, there are many countries that these are the top destinations. Let's say starting from Mexico, Costa Rica, Colombia, let's say Peru, and then we have the south part, which is the combo of Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Paraguay, for example. These are like the top destinations. And well, there are different the differences in the cultures. Let's say that countries like, I don't know, Colombia, Costa Rica, I don't know, Peru, for example, they are more formal. Regarding the aspect of the way of work, they are very respectful, and let's say that they are more, let's say, they want to follow the what is needed to be done.
Right.
But let's say that, for example, other countries like Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, we are more open and more flexible regarding communication. Maybe we are more extrovert regarding the other countries, because somehow you can find candidates in the south that could be maybe more, let's say, critical with their point of views. But in general terms, I think that in Latin America, is there is a cultural fit with the US, because we are very influenced by the culture in the US. So we are used to everything what happens in the US. So this is important. Regarding the English level, of course, you will have some differences. But for example, let's say one of the main countries as a primary destination is Costa Rica, which is one of the nearest destinations
Hmm.
for nearshore. Costa Rica has been growing as a top country for that. Of course, they are very, very in contact with the American culture. They have a very good English level, fluency, and they are very used to work on an American team, let's say. And then you
Okay.
have in the south, that is also, you will find fluent people. It's important to clarify that, of course, during our processes, our vetting process, the English level is a very important topic for us of evaluation, because of course we are focused on the North American market. We need a good English level. So all our candidates need to have at least an upper intermediate level. So they have to be fluent. They can express the ideas, that kind of things. This is part of what we do regarding the evaluation. But in general
Mm.
terms, let's say, uh, yes, you will find more, extrovert candidates, and in other countries more introvert. So that is the difference. But in general terms, they work as expected. Let's say, they can join a team working on agile, in agile methodology,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah. I
things,
see.
in a good way. So
I
yes.
see. No. Yeah. This is clear. And like per my experience, the good teams are the ones that have different kind of personalities in it. Someone who is more expressive, someone who is more focused on their work, and like they just augment each other with their strength. and this allows the team to be more efficient, like in different areas. So this is I always looking for while thinking about putting up a new team, and thinking
In terms
about
of
how.
just to finish this topic, I mean, we have cases where we have a client which is a software development company, let's say in Nebraska, that part of their team or most of their team are from us, and they are from different countries, from Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, Colombia. So there's a diversity on the team, which is very good. Of course, the team internally they are going to on their own meetings they can speak Spanish and so on, and they help each other, but there is a mix of cultures, let's say, and also the client they really like the Latin American culture, so they end up sharing some cultural aspect of the day by day, things they do, what kind of cheese that we drink
Nice.
in our countries, like mate, which is like a tea. It can be
Yeah, I
drink
know
with
what mate is.
cold
Yeah,
or hot,
yeah,
and the client end up like using that things, and that is very, very, very fun. And well, that kind of stories, I love them, and I've been visiting this client in Nebraska, and I know the impact is huge. I mean, it's not only about assigning developers, it's about
exactly,
creating a
exactly.
multicultural team, and they are very happy with that, and we are very proud of
Exactly, because ultimately we are all people, and we are looking to having those deep connections and relationship with
yes.
other people, exchange experience and finding something common, and then spending time together and experiencing emotions. This is important part of every job, I believe. Like besides the technical expertise and besides the business that we are doing. And talking about the clients and building the relationship with them, I can imagine as a service company, it's one of your main pillar of maintaining and building those deep connections and the deep relationship with your customers and clients. How do you do it? Like, do you have any strategies or some tactics that you experienced as in a good way?
Well, for me, the most important strategy that I not call it a strategy, but it's the most important thing is to build trust. That is the most important thing, because this business is a lot of is focused on personal connections. It's not a product that you sell. It's about relationships. So that is the most important thing. So for me, building trust is the secret, and I think, and I have read in different articles things that the trust has three components. That is authenticity, logic, and empathy, and those three pillars are very important. That means, for example, that authenticity is that you need to be yourself. When you start talking with someone, be transparent about what you do, your company, your current situation, what are you looking for, that kind of things. So be transparent and be yourself is the one of the main pillars in order to create a relationship. And then the logic, it talks about your capabilities. I mean, the way you do things show, as you said, what is your process, how it works, to be clear on the steps. That kind of things gives a lot of confidence on their side, that you do the right things in order to bring the right candidates, for example. uh, this is very important. It's an important pillar. And the third is empathy. It means that you really show that you care about their business, that you care, you want to understand what are their problems, how you can solve that, what they need. Sometimes it's not what you are selling, let's say, as a service. Maybe sometimes what they need is a connection, what they need is an option for a tool, I don't know. So that empathy for me is very important, because it means that you show them openness, not only to drive the conversation to what I do in my company, but as a whole. Okay, I can help you in different things. So let's talk about a topic or something I learned that can help you. So that is like the third part, empathy, to really connect with someone. And so for me, that is the secret, to build trust.
Yeah, can't agree more because, like, as I mentioned before, we all people striving to have those connections and looking for somebody else's experience and sharing our experience with them is is a pretty good thing for sure. And I believe everyone like, who experienced that will be looking forward to having more of it.
I
And
mean, it's
and
like what happened with us, Dimitro. I mean, we met
exactly,
in an event. We talk a lot. We share, an after in another event, and we share about our life, about your dreams, about. I share many things about my personal life with you that
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
common
About
to
we
share that,
talked
but
about our
and
families and some
yes,
hobbies and everything. Yeah, how
and
it
then we
works and
continue the conversation during the year. Everything that you share on LinkedIn, we I know we talk about that, and that's the way it works. I mean, if at some point there are some synergies regarding something that we can go together, that's okay. If not, there are always plenty of options to help each other, and
exactly,
that is the important
exactly.
thing for me.
Yeah, yeah, and we already like enjoying just each other's company, just talking. And I was also I wanted to mention that as we were talking about service business and building the trust with the customers, I believe it's true for every other business as well. Like whatever industry you take, whatever area you take, like the relationship between people is the pillar for everything else and for the success as well for every venture. Like how close you are to your customers, how close you are to your employees, how close you are to your team. Like it is, the things that really makes a difference in day-to-day work and day-to-day life as well. And you also mentioned that, like, as you work with the clients and building this trust and relationship with them, I believe there are some also strategies and tactics that you can use to assess clients' needs and fully understand what they're after. Because I can imagine sometimes there are like people that have some just generic vision, but they are not sure about how they can start, what's the plan, what's the process, and everything else. And as someone who is in tech for many years, I always try to help people better understand what they need exactly. Just something what is a bit below of the vision, but more technical and maybe from the business side more meaningful. Because having a vision is fine, but until you have understanding how you're going to implement that, it's going to be difficult. So, can you tell us something about that?
Yes. Well, I think that this is a multidimensional problem. Okay, you have to have different dimensions to understand a prospect. Okay, first I think is you need to validate the pain points. Okay, what they are looking for. If well, in my case, for example, what is the problem is are skill gaps on their teams that they are not covering for a new project and they need someone SIP. It's time to market. Is a budget problem. Is team scalability. Is quality assurance. I don't know what is happening, what is the problem. So that is the first part of evaluating or assessing a potential prospect, let's say. The other dimension is in which moment they are now. Think about moment is something that really changed my mind when I learned this concept on a mentoring program I have done. And it's very important because the moment will drive needs. For example, you can say, okay, they are launching a new project. Oh, so that means they are going to need people on their team. They are growing their team. They are, for example, in a scaling phase. They are scaling the team. um, they are having problem, a staff attrition problem. For example, they are having internal problem with the team, and many people is going out, and sometimes they need quick replacements. As I said, there is a cost a cut cost cutting phase, which means that somehow they need budget problems and they need to save money. So the moment is important, and of course you can learn that through different signals. I don't know, checking their LinkedIn, what they are saying, and so on. So if you can if you can say, okay, I think you are in this moment, is very important for the discovery
Mm,
process.
mm,
And third, it's important to understand in which part of the sales or marketing funnel, let's say, they are. It can be high, mid, or low level. High level means that they are in an awareness, that somehow they don't know they have a need, but they don't know staffing solutions, for example, different options. So this means that maybe you will need to work hard on education, for example, trying for them to understand, hey, look,
right.
at the point of looking for options in order to grow your team, you have like working with a staffing agency, hire a recruiter, or you can work, with another company that can bring, the to completely outsource the project, for example. So this is important because sometimes they don't know they have options. They only think, oh, I only hire people for my team. But maybe at some point you need a more flexible model. And in this point, it's important for them to know that. And then we have, the prospect that is in the mid level. So they are is calling a consideration stage. It means that somehow they know the options, they want to try. They So in terms of education, they are more advanced on that, and maybe you can help them in order to try, for a short period, that kind of things, in order. So there the challenges are, the fears they have. Okay, I know that, but maybe I have some doubts, and well, to bring information is important, that kind of things, to lower the risk. And then we have the lower level on the funnel, which means they are on a decision stage, so they already know and they are already like evaluating different providers. Well, in this case, they are ready to buy, but now they are
Mm,
comparing options, for example. So in this place, you need to show more detailed information about the rate sheet, or I don't know how it works, the service. I don't know. Go deeper on aspects of the service, and in order for them to evaluate. So for me, as a general model, let's say I have this multidimensional. Again, is the pain point validation, understand the moment, and then understand the level in the marketing or sales funnel. So
at which
this is a
stage they are.
summary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Based
And
on that, you can take different actions. In every point of the
yeah,
multidimensional model.
it's a complex process for sure. And
Yeah, it
as
is.
some other people who will be listening to this podcast that are in service business as well, can you share some of examples examples of acquiring the clients using some of the strategies?
Okay.
Like, let's say there was a client when we've met at that
Yes.
moment, they were expanding and we offered that, and then didn't work, that but we came up with something else that worked ultimately.
Yes. Well, I have had different scenarios. One main scenario, I think, is the referrals. This is very important. I have analyzed at Litium, and up to 50% of our clients, they came from referrals. So this implies that relationships matters, is that we
Right.
were talking about. So if you do a good job and they trust you, for sure they are going to recommend you for someone else. And this is very important. What I recommend is to work on this on your clients. You can ask them for referrals. You can to be transparent. Say, hey, if you have someone that you know that they need something related to what I do, please refer me. And of course, that can bring also opportunities. What benefits you can give your clients regarding that, and so on. Be open to that. So this is one model, referrals. Other ideas are, for example, well, to meet people, well, belong to communities. This is important. In my case, for example, Lithium, we belong to an IT staffing community in the US. That brings us a lot of opportunities because even that we belong to a community where you know a lot of insights about the industry also allows you to know other people, other companies that are in the same industry. And of course, synergies are created. And of course, as we are more focused on nearshore services and they are more focused on the local market in the US, there are natural synergies. Let's say, oh, you can open your offering to your clients, offering people from Latin America. So they already have their relationships, and now you can bring into the table another option. You can trust me for this, and let me be your partner. For the LATAM side of the talent. So this is an example, for example, to
Mm-hmm.
how communities, people that gather, recurrently, that brings a lot of opportunities. So this is a strategy I use, and of course. Another strategy I can share is, for example, sometimes you don't need to reach your client directly. Maybe you can reach through someone else that can refer, let's say, or be a
Introduce you, right?
reference for them. Let's say, for example, in my case, well, one of my main clients, they came from a consulting firm that was helping them at that point to grow, and they recommend my services, or they reach me, let's say, okay, you do staffing services, look, I have a client of mine that we are helping them to grow, and I think that there are synergies and you can bring them so the talent solutions. And that was interesting because it's actually someone that is helping your client to achieve something, so they can be another target for you. I mean, someone that indirectly will help your client. So this is another
Mm.
strategy that has worked. And of course, for the multidimensional approach, I have commented before, in every point of this model you can base on, the pain point, the moment, and the funnel. You can do a specific approach, if maybe it's
Mm.
more educational, or maybe it's more about showing more information about how the service works. So this is the
Oh, it's a
other
great
approach.
system. Yeah,
Yeah.
great system for sure. So thank you so much for sharing all of this. Because as we approaching the end of our conversation, is there any one advice you can give someone that is trying to also build the presence and services kind of business, trying to grow the firm and scale the services companies? Because I believe there are a lot of people who will be listening to us that are doing probably similar things and are in the same business.
Yeah. Well, I think that nowadays, one of the challenges you are facing in the industry is, the how you are going to create your team. If it is going to be an on-site team, a hybrid team, or a remote team. So that is very important to evaluate the models and trying to get the best of every model. That is an important thing to evaluate.
I
Of
see.
course, depending on your service, you will more on-site approach, maybe where you need something that a lot of value is created through interactions with people and that kind of things. Well, maybe an on-site approach is good. The hybrid approach, is where you have some parts of your business that needs that energy on site, but then you can enjoy the freedom of for your team to let them work from remotely. That is a good model. And then you have the other approach, like you can build a completely remote company, and from the 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 origin of the services is something that the people can do by themselves. So you need to be coordinated, have processes, use the right tools, and so on. And that is allows you to completely run a remote company. So
Cool.
my advice is to take advantage of the current technologies, trends, and of course what the people is looking for their life, to try to match as the most you can to have a happy team. So that is my
Nice.
advice.
Yeah, very cool. No, this is definitely good advice. Be creative and ensure that you have the right people in the team and you work with the right team as
Yes,
well. Uh, because as I'm advising the service companies as well on their strategies and their scaling opportunities and everything else related to that, those advices are very interesting to hear to, and I will definitely add them to my knowledge base. And
excellent. Let's
Rodrigo
share.
Silva, thank you so much for joining us today for this conversation. And everyone who's listening, I will post Rodrigo's LinkedIn profile in the comments. Please join Rodrigo and myself for other advices related to service business. And just let's keep connected and keep in touch. Thank you, Rodrigo.
Many thanks, Dimitro, for the time to share this space with you. And okay, let's keep in touch. And I hope to see you soon again in San Francisco.
Sure. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.